Hello students, in today's class we'll be continuing the topic Mendel's law of inheritance. In the last class we studied about law of dominance and law of segregation. Today we'll be studying about law of independent assortment. If we remember that in law of dominance and law of segregation we have taken the example of monohybrid cross. But in the law of independent assortment, we'll be taking the example of dihybrid cross. Now let's see. So here is the dihybrid cross being performed between the two pea plants. One pea plant is having the characteristic that it is round and yellow. Another pea plant is having the characteristic that it is green and wrinkled. So one character is defining the color of the plant as well, color of the pea, and another one is defining the appearance of pea, whether it is wrinkled or it is round, and the other one is the color, whether it is yellow or it is green. So these two characters are taken into consideration. That is why we can say that it is a dihybrid cross. So the law of independent assortment states that when a dihybrid organism forms the gametes. Now here are the two parents. One parent is round yellow, another one is wrinkled green. The round character is represented by capital R, while the yellow character is represented by capital Y. While in the case of another parent, the small r is representing the wrinkled character and small y is representing the green color. Now, we will find out the gametes of these two parents. So, each of these gametes, whenever the gamete formation will take place, each of these gametes from both the parent will have one allele from each of the parent. If you can see that each of the parent, the gamete of each of the parent is having one allele. From round yellow, the gamete is capital R and capital Y. Capital R represent round and capital Y represent yellow. R is for the appearance and Y is for the color. Similarly, in case of gamete of another parent, you can see small r, that is wrinkled, that is standing for wrinkled, is for the appearance, and small y, which is representing the color, that is green. So two gametes are involved and each gamete is containing two characters from the parent. One is the appearance and one is the color in this case. So now we'll read the lines again. Whenever the dihybrid organism forms the gametes, each gamete receives one allele from each allelic pair or each characteristic. Each gamete here, as you can see, has taken one allele from the parent. So hence each gamete is containing two alleles from the parents. Okay. Now we'll find out the first filial generation. The filial generation is obtained by crossing, which is done between the two gametes. When the crossing is done, the offspring which is obtained all are capital R small r and capital Y small y, which means the F1 generation obtained, all the offsprings in the F1 generation obtained are heterozygous as well as a hybrid variety. Why have we called it heterozygous? Because as you can see, the parents were homozygous, but the offspring obtained is heterozygous. and it is a hybrid variety. But if we have to find out the phenotype of it, the phenotypic appearance will be, it is round and yellow. Since capital R and capital Y are dominant and they are representing round yellow, so the F1 generation will be round yellow. Since the capital R and capital Y are dominating over the recessive small r and small y. But the genotypes will be different of the offspring as compared to that of their parent. So this is the F1 generation obtained. And we are clear with the first point of the law as well. Now we will move on to the second filial generation. But before that, we need to now perform the crossing. For crossing, we need to take off the gametes. When the crossing is done between the same genotypes, capital R, capital Y, small y, then it is called as selfing. So we perform the selfing between the two genotypes, and for that we need to remove the gametes. So now for removing the gametes, see, we have taken again, each gamete will contain two allele representing different characters. So we will take the one of the character will be the appearance and another one will be the color. So we will take the capital R and capital Y first. Then we will capital R and capital Y, one for appearance and one for color. Then we will take capital R and small y. We have taken capital R and small y. Now we will take small r and capital Y. We have taken small r and capital Y, and then we will take small r and small y. Here. So this way we have removed 4 of the gametes. These are the 4 gametes. So the gametes of both of the parents, you perform the selfing, gametes of both of the parents will remain the same. Gametes of both of the parents will remain the same. We will write down the gametes of both of the parents on both the sides of Punnett square, as you can see. So capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, capital Y, and small r, small y, small r, small y. This is the Punnett square. We have written the gametes of 2 different parents on both the sides. Now we will perform the crossing. Now we perform the crossing and we will get, out of these 2 gametes, we will get capital R and capital Y, capital Y. Just remember that always keep the alleles of one of the character together and the another character separately. Suppose here you have performed the crossing between 2 of the gametes. So you will always keep the appearance, that is capital R together, and the color capital Y together. We will not write it as capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y. We will always keep the appearance together and the color together. Means one character together and the another character together. Now we will perform the crossing between capital R, capital Y and capital R, small y. We have got capital R by crossing here capital R and capital Y, small y. Similarly, we will perform the crossing here capital R, small r, capital Y, capital Y. Capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. Now, capital R, capital Y, small y. This is the way we will perform the crossing. And we will get the result at the end. What result will we get? Now, let's see. After performing the crossing, we have obtained the result. And how will we find out the result? Now, be very careful with it. Now, see, capital R and capital Y, as I told you, have been the dominant character here. So, in this case, capital R, capital Y will be round and yellow. So, one of the offspring obtained will be round and yellow. So, for round and yellow, I will mark it by yellow color. Now, another one is capital R, capital Y. Here, if you can see, the offspring genotype is containing capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. If there is capital R and small r, we'll always consider capital R, since capital R is dominant. If there are two characters, two of the alleles, capital Y, small y, then we will take capital Y into consideration, since capital Y is dominant. So here the phenotype of the offspring obtained will be round and yellow. So one round yellow here, another round yellow here. Another case now here, capital R, out of capital R and small r, we'll give importance to capital R since it is dominant. And here both are capital Y, so we will take capital Y. So next phenotype of the offspring will be round and yellow. Similarly, the next one will be again round and yellow, since we have taken capital R and capital Y dominant. Now similarly here also we will take capital R and capital Y. Now this we will leave because there is no capital Y over here. Now we move on to another one, capital R and capital Y we can find out, so we will again mark it by yellow. Now in the another one we cannot see capital Y, we will leave it. Now see the another one, capital R and capital Y, again mark it by yellow. Similarly, the another one, capital R and capital Y, marked by yellow. Now leave the rest of the two, since there is no capital R in both of these cases. Now we'll move on here, capital R and capital Y. Now we'll count the number of capital R and capital Y, which means round and yellow variety. Capital R for round and Y for yellow. Capital Y for yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So round and yellow, how many of them are there? 9 are there. Now we'll again see the leftover offsprings. So we'll move on to the first one, capital R and small y, we'll mark it with red. Capital R for round and small y for green. Okay, so one round and green we have got. Now the another one, capital R and small y, another round and green we got. Then capital R and small y, another round and green. So how many round and green? 3 round and green variety we obtained. Now small r and capital Y. Small r is representing the wrinkled variety and capital Y is representing the yellow. Small r and capital Y. Small r and capital Y. That means wrinkled and yellow. How many wrinkled and yellow? 3 wrinkled and yellow. At the end, we have been left with small r and small y. If you remember, small r and small y, small r for wrinkled and small y for green. So, how many wrinkled and green? 1 wrinkled and green. At the end, we have obtained the phenotypic ratio, which is 9:3:3:1. 9 is for round and yellow, 3 is for round and green, while other 3 is for wrinkled and yellow, and 1 is for wrinkled and green. I hope this makes it clear how we have obtained this phenotypic ratio. So by the end of this dihybrid cross, we have made the second point also very clear, that the assortment of the alleles of different characteristics during the gamete formation is independent of their parental combination, which means when the selfing is done between capital R small r and capital Y small y, then we obtained these offsprings which are completely different from the parent. The parent was round and yellow. That too, the hybrid variety of heterozygous hybrid round and yellow variety was there. So round and yellow have been obtained in the offsprings, although but still there are two new varieties which were shown. What were two new varieties? Round and green and wrinkled and yellow. So these are the new varieties, as well as recessive form of wrinkled and green was also available. So these two new varieties were completely new. So this is what the second statement of this law states, that assortment of the allele of different characteristic during gamete formation is independent of their parental combination. The offsprings which were obtained were completely, some of the offspring obtained were completely different from the parental combination. So we concluded out of the law of independent assortment that whenever a dihybrid organism is taken, then each of the gamete will contain one allele from one of the character, and when the crossing is done between the when the crossing is done between the similar genotypes, or the selfing is done, then after the F2 generation we will see that the phenotypes which were obtained will be completely different. The offspring of the phenotype which will be obtained will be completely different from that of the parental combination. Now we move on to another topic, which is sex determination. The process by which the sex of a person is determined is known as sex determination. And the chromosome which is responsible for determining the sex of a person is known as sex chromosome. We have talked about it. How many sex chromosomes are there in a person? There is one pair of sex chromosome. In male, the sex chromosome is XY, while in female it is XX. So a sperm carries either the X chromosome or it will carry the Y chromosome, but the ovum will always contain the X chromosome. It is the sperm which determines the sex of a child. So a child will always take the X chromosome from the mother, since there is no another possibility, as the female is homogametic, while whether the child will take X chromosome or Y chromosome from the father will determine whether it will be a boy or it will be a girl. If the child takes X chromosome from the father, so it will be a girl, and if the child takes Y chromosome from the father, it will be a boy. Now this is making the things more clear. This is a Punnett square shown over here, and on one side we have taken the female gamete, on the other side we have taken the male gamete. Okay. And we have written the alleles of both of the gametes separately. Now let us perform the Punnett square. So this is representing the female, which is this is the sign for female, and this is representing the male. So when the crossing is done between x and x, we got this offspring. X and y, we got this. X and x, we got this offspring, and x and y, we got this offspring. At the end, we realize that there are 50% chances of a girl and 50% chances of a boy. So the possibility of a girl is equal as compared to that of a boy. Whether it will be a boy or it will be a girl, there is an equal possibility. Now, one thing to notice over here, if you can see that the female contains both X, while the male contains X and Y. If you see, all the offspring which is obtained has carried X from the female, and if it carries the X from the male as well, then only it will be a girl, and if it carries Y from the male, it will be a boy. So sex, hence we can say the sex of the child is determined by the male parent. Thank you, guys.